Hi, I'm Brandon Mason, and this is a video for the residents of Delta County. I'd like to share some footage from the March 8th Planning Commission meeting so residents can understand what happened there. I was there filming, and along with most people in the room, I was surprised when Victoria Hope Turner, a representative from District 2, notified the Planning Commission that they are in violation of their own bylaws. This caused quite a stir in the room and a lot of back and forth arguing, which I won't subject the viewer to. I saw two main perspectives emerge in the room, both of which I think have validity. The majority of the Planning Commission wanted to get on from this disruption and serve the people who came before them to apply for a permit for an event venue. They were upset by the way Victoria had brought the issue up and felt it could have been handled in a less disruptive way. Victoria's perspective was that by state statute, everything they are doing is null and void. Now that they have been notified and are attempting to ignore it and move on without addressing it, they are moving towards knowingly engaging in illegal activity. To my knowledge, this situation is currently unresolved. So let's listen to what Victoria has to say.
What laws allow us to act in violation of our bylaws?
I understand.
Because there are state
It's a question.
statutes that tell us we are not allowed to break our bylaws. Okay. Robert's Rules of Order continuously states that our bylaws are our supreme governing body. If our bylaws go over Robert's Rules of Order, we follow our bylaws.
And what is
clarification?
What in the bylaws?
I haven't heard anything of what specifically is being violated in the
What's
bylaws.
violated?
So there are two things. Your term as chair has expired, and therefore, and again, I wasn't educated the first meeting that I had here, and I was told that we could make an amendment, and it's a friendly amendment to vote you in. That's incorrect. So it was a violation of our bylaws. Secondly, the only people that are allowed to serve on this board are members who reside in unincorporated Delta County. So the people that don't reside outside of city limits are breaking our bylaws.
Okay, so can we separate those two out? Because
Yes.
The incorporated versus unincorporated, to me, is a legal opinion. I'm not sure your legal opinion will suffice to answer that right now. Your objection to the way we elected a chairman can be resolved right now if I will step down as chair. Is that fair? Is that fair? Will that address your problem?
If you step down as chair,
right now.
that section of the inquiry and that section of our illegality is solved.
Okay, so if I do that, can we proceed with the proc hearing?
So Tom's expired term limit was also pointed out to the county commissioners at the February 28th hearing by Cindie Sorensen. You can find a link to her testimony in the description. So at this point, both the commissioners and the Planning Commission have now received notice that the Planning Commission is in violation of its bylaws. Planning commissioners who currently reside within municipal areas include Kate Darlington, Tate Locke, and David Merrick. Some planning commissioners don't have a clearly discernible primary residence, and it seems that the Planning Commission never really had a process to ensure membership compliance with their bylaws. The next clip I'm going to play is Robbie LaValle reading a statement from the county lawyer.
Thank you. I do have a statement that the county attorney has weighed in. It is on the agenda later after the procs have their hearing in front of you. But I will read one portion that addresses the membership. It says, CRS 30-28-103 addresses the membership requirements of Planning Commission members. It states, each of such members of the commission shall be a resident of the county. In resolution number 2018 R-025, the Board of County Commissioners directed the PC to ensure that such rules adopted are consistent with 30-28-103. The PC bylaws 5.1 is in part inconsistent with the state statute and inconsistent with the BOCC's directive. Additionally, without dispute, the BOCC has the authority to create a planning commission and appoint members within the limitations of state statute. Again, CRS 30-28-103, 1 and 2. The PC has no authority to adopt bylaws in conflict with state statute and the BOC's direction. Summary. The PC has no authority to limit its own membership to those people who live in unincorporated areas of the Delta County. To the extent that PC bylaws 5.1 limits membership to only those who reside in unincorporated areas of Delta County, it is void since it is outside the authority of the PC and conflicts with state statute. So in the county attorney's words, right here in the memo, then, the state statute rules, meaning that members just need to reside in Delta County, which they do based on 2018 R-025.
So that's the opinion from the county attorney, and we're going, I mean, unless, I think that's the only
enough.
legal opinion that we have to follow tonight. So that issue is off the table. Can we move forward if I step down as chair?
Forever or just right now for this?
For tonight, and we're still on the agenda to discuss it at the end, right, for the Brock hearing right now.
So the county's lawyer is saying that the bylaws are in violation of state statute. I'm not a lawyer, but another perspective on this would be that unincorporated Delta County is in fact a subset of Delta County. So the bylaws don't contradict state statute. They simply refine and further specify this parameter. If the bylaws were to, for instance, state that members must be from Texas, that would clearly contradict the state statute. But I don't personally see how specifying unincorporated Delta County is a contradiction, because if people are living in unincorporated Delta County, then they are most certainly also living in Delta County, thereby satisfying the state statute. I'm not sure how the board will resolve these issues, particularly if their actions have no binding power at this point. It looks to me like they need rescue from an outside, lawfully acting entity in order to come back into wholeness with the law. I'm not intimately familiar with Robert's Rules of Order or the Colorado State Statute, so maybe there are specific procedures for resolving a situation like this. I am as curious as our viewers may be in seeing how this will be resolved.
I'll also add, the planning commission is not obligated to have bylaws.
Okay.
So that's something that you may also want to be thinking about. If either you want to amend your bylaws.
Okay.
Obviously, one thing relative to the membership is not consistent with statute. So that would be one thing. And then if you wanted to have a different conversation about how the chair or vice chair elections work, you could have that conversation as well, provided it's consistent with statute. Or you can just not have bylaws at all.
So Carl is saying that if the bylaws are a problem, we can simply abolish them. It should be clear to everyone watching that this particular requirement within the bylaws was designed to provide accountability and to ensure that the people making decisions actually reside in the area that will be impacted by those decisions. I'm curious to know how the people of Delta County may feel knowing that their planning commission now has on the table a proposal to remove or alter their bylaws in a clear attempt to sidestep the accountability that was intended by this requirement.
The last thing I'll say is that if we do make any changes to our bylaws, it will be publicly notified. We will have a public hearing on it. We're not going to go into this exec session and do away with all our bylaws, so folks in the room and online don't think that's what's going to happen. Just know we need to square some things away, apparently.
We should all rest assured that they won't do this in secret. Somehow, that fails to comfort me, because what we're talking about here is still avoiding accountability, whether it's done in the public or private. I have one last clip to play for you, and that is the board discussing next steps for their review of the land use code.
March.
What are we intending to do then if we don't? We're not having anything.
Well, they're going to send us a red line.
And what are we doing?
Give them more
The
comment.
I mean, the way the statute is written is you accept, reject, or suggest modifications, and then the board will take that under consideration at a public hearing.
And we have 30 days to do that from the time we receive it, correct?
That's correct.
I would greatly appreciate further clarification from the county on what the process is at this point and what the roles and responsibilities are. But my current understanding is this. Carl is still responsible for drafting new versions of the land use code. He has been directed to incorporate feedback from the public, but that is up to his interpretation. The county commissioners now seem to be coming before the planning commission within the process. And a March 10th press release from Delta County, which I'll link to in the description below, shows that their working copy is based on Carl's February 27th draft, which was released the day before the last public hearing. So what exactly did it mean when the county commissioners voted to reject the amendments on February 28th? It seems to mean that while the particular version of the changes won't be signed into law, the process and the people that generated them are being allowed to continue without disruption or delay, and from the same point of reference. I'm not sure the people of Delta County understood that when they let out a cheer on February 28th after the commissioners voted to reject the changes. It remains to be seen whether Carl and the Planning Commission, functioning as they are capable of integrating the needs of unincorporated Delta County and producing a document in good faith that works for all of us. My understanding is that on Tuesday, March 21st, that's this next, or the upcoming Tuesday, the county commissioners will discuss and vote on removing Victoria from the Planning Commission. So from what's been presented so far, the county's response to notification of their violation of the Planning Commission bylaws is to potentially change or remove the bylaws and get rid of the person who pointed this out to them. As a resident of Delta County, what do you think of all this? Is this a process that you have confidence in? I do think that it's possible for something good to come out of this if we as residents use this as an opportunity to come closer together. Are our neighbors just people with opposing viewpoints that we have to learn to get along with? Or can we find common cause? I believe that ultimately it is the degree to which we can find respect and appreciation for one another and for the ways of life that we're choosing here that will determine the future of Delta County. Thank you, everyone, and many blessings as we head into springtime. I hope that there will be potlucks, events, and many chances for us to get to know each other. Thank you for listening.